Howdy, folks. Welcome to Thoughts from the Innisphere, episode 18. And today we're going to be talking about the Centurion, the 50-ton Battlemech from the year 3025. Well, what can we say about the Centurion other than 50 tons? It's a 4.6.0 mover, no jump jets. It has 10 heat sinks, which comes with the fusion engine, 136 points of armor, carries an AC-10 with 2 tons of ammo, an LRM-10 with 2 tons of ammo, and 2 medium lasers. Now, what can we say about the Centurion? Well, being that it is a 4.6 mover, it is a battle mech that can work fine with slow-moving medium mechs or heavy mechs. Quite a few times I've thrown it into a heavy lance as the little companion, because with the AC-10, it can do 10 points of damage with that, and also with the LRM-10, you can lay down some suppressive fire. Usually, with the way missiles work, you're going to do probably 6 or 8 points of damage with it. It's more of a harassing weapon, but you can sit there and hide behind some type of cover building and do arcing fire with it, indirect, and just harass a target. And let's say you have a individual, you have, let's say, a 5.8 moving mech that's running around spotting for you, going, and you can shoot that LRM continually and lay down suppressive fire. Usually it's good for hitting like a slow heavy mech. Let's say you have a 3.5 assault mech or a 4.6 heavy mech or assault mech, and it's not moving very fast, and you can easily just plink away at it. Occasionally, there's been games where I have done a good job of hitting it with a critical hit and doing some type of internal damage with that LRM. And heat usually isn't a problem with this in this current configuration. Now, what else can you do with it? Well, it's with that, like I said, with the AC-10, you can move in and lay down some fire. It has 136 points of armor, which is good for a medium mech. It could use, I think, you can have up to 168, 169, something like that. I think it's 169, and so you could have almost 2 more tons of armor on it, which there's a variant that does take care of some of those problems with lack of the armor. So, what would you do? Well, try to find, like I've always said, have a mech or two that are a little bit bigger, more of a threat, and this mech can go around and work the edges, work its way around, and try to hit the flanks, or if it can, get into the backside. There's nothing to sneeze at with a AC-10 hitting somebody in the back, especially if you hit some of these mechs. They only have 5-10. Actually, usually it's 6 to 8 points of armor on their backs, and you hit them with an AC-10, you're going in, and you have a good chance of doing that critical. And especially if it's like a center torso, and you get a crit chance on the backside, hey, you're working good. You're doing the Lord's work there. Now, the only problem is with trying to do that, you're going to have to run to do it, because you're not a fast mech. You're only a 4.6, and you don't have the jump jets. And if somebody can displace themselves into a circumstance where you have to even run more, they can take you out of the fight as you're trying to get around the back. All right. If you are a player like me and you see that's happening, I'm going to put as much terrain in between me and you as possible and take your firepower out of the equation for a while I can focus fire on someone else and maybe rip them apart. And then when you do come around, it's like, well, hello, little guy. Welcome to the party. Now, let's just look at a couple variants here. There is the one variant where most of the variants deal with doing something with the autocannon. And this one is you take 2 medium lasers and you add those 2 tons and make it an AC-20 with 2 tons of ammo, which only equates out to 10 shots. So an AC-20, suddenly you're looking at something that's like a hunchback. And we know what the hunchback is, that, like we just talked about, is the gambling mech. Are you willing to gamble with your entire mech wrapped around basically one piece of equipment? Now you do have that LRM-10 on there, but you miss, that's 20 points not doing anything for you. And you took 10 points of damage away for the 2 medium lasers to do a 20 shot. And it does say now this is something to use around installations, and it's not really an assault or attacking mech. It's something that's used for defense. And I've never been a fan of that version. Just looking at wrapping everything up around one weapon is, in my eyes, not always a great way to deal with all comers, all problems. Now let's look at the other one. Another common variant replaces the autocannon with a heavy laser and a medium laser and adds 4 heat sinks for additional heat generation and more armor. So basically the Lyrian version, so you take care of that autocannon, you tear it out, or put it in with a large laser, which is the version I most commonly like, and you have more heat sinks and more armor. So you're basically maxing this thing out. So who's not to like 32 more points of armor? You know, you max this thing out to 168, 169, and who's not to like? You know, that's the, you know, does the job. You can last a few more turns in a conflict with a little bit more armor. Then with the extra heat sinks, you know, obviously you're going to be generating 8 heat versus, you know, the extra that you had with the autocannon. So yeah, you're going to need those, throw some of that over there. Now there's one version, now basically what I like to do, taking kind of like on that, and here they're saying 4 tons into armor. You can't put 4 tons. You're going to have 2 extra tons. And to actually look at that version the way it should be designed, that was a clerical error, I think, in that, is you take those 2 tons and you put it in a jump jet. So now you're 4, 6, 4, and so you're more mobile. You have a large laser, an LRM-10, 2 medium lasers, 14 heat sinks, and you can jump. What's not to like? That kind of ticks off all the boxes. You know, it's like, yep, all right, yep, right, yep. All right, we're good. Now, there's one version that I don't see it anymore. I have to find the data sheet. I might have it around here someplace in one of my boxes, or maybe I'm thinking of the other one, the Enforcer. But there's one that makes it a 585 mech. So now you have a faster mech. You got rid of the autocannon. You make it faster, increase the engine size, and you have a large laser, 2 medium lasers, an LRM-10 with 1 ton of ammo, I think it is, and you put a little bit of extra into engine and jump jets. And I think it knocks off maybe 1 ton less of armor than the one we just talking about. But I have to go look into the mech builder program just to make sure that's what I'm thinking of. But you know, that's one variant I like too. Just if you have a mech building program, look at that too. Make it a 585 and large laser LRM-10 with 1 ton and then 2 medium lasers. And I think it only carries 10 heat sinks, so it's a little hotter. But you know, that's just here nor there. You can mitigate heat management if you're smart about it. But that is the Centurion. And I'm thinking about in the next video maybe take a step back away from mechs for a second and let's just talk about type of game systems. Do you use hex maps or would you use open terrain? There's a lot of people out there that don't use open terrain and only have hex boards because that's all they ever built. They've never been exposed really to miniature gaming, and we can talk about that maybe in a future video too. Alright, this is Hellcorrex, and you have a good one. Talk to you later.